I'll state the obvious. My hair is a victim of the high-dose chemo. At least my dick hasn't fallen off yet. Thank God. I'm happy about that. So anyway, where are we right now? I was released from the hospital on Tuesday. Absolute neutrophil count of 5.29. They'll release you if you have 3 days in a row of 0.5 or 1 day at 1.5. So at 5.29, I was more than enough for release. What did I do since I've been home? Sleep. I felt like I've been run over by a truck. It's really pretty intense. Of all the chemotherapies I've gone through, I thought this would just be another chemotherapy, but this high-dose chemo with this stem cell transplant was a doozy. I have to admit that. Going neutropenic and being at essentially zero level of white blood cells, it's challenging, and to say the least, and you really don't feel like yourself until these things come back. I'm just now starting to come around. What are some more victims of this high-dose chemo? I'm still feeling the effects in my intestinal tract as the lining of the small intestine, large intestine still continue to slough off, and the bowel movements aren't even normal yet. Getting close, but you're almost popping Imodium pills like they're candy at least once a day to get that back in check. The other aspect is your taste buds and loss of appetite. Terrible. So I'm not eating that well. Maybe about half the meals. It's starting to improve. Again, all these things are normal with recuperation from a stem cell transplant. So we just have to wait some time, and the bowels will come back, and the taste buds will come back, from what I've been told. So I've gone for a follow-up since then on Thursday. Everything's looking good. I'm very pleased. They're happy with my progress. We might even have kicked the teeth in of the cancer with some indirect evidence I have now. Remember, the creatinine pre-high-dose chemo was floating around 1.4 something in that ballpark. Now it's at 0.84. I'm in the normal range. Again, that's indicative of much less of the light chains of the cancer floating around in the blood and messing up the tubules of the kidneys. So, hey, that's good. Also, the total serum proteins are 7.4 post high-dose chemo. Before the high-dose chemo, they were maybe between 10 and 11. And again, that M protein is part of that total serum protein. So we can't make a total judgment on where we stand with the M protein by itself, but that's, again, a good indication, and that 7.4 total serum protein is actually in normal ranges as well. So some maybe preliminary indications that we did give a good wallop to the cancer. So the next steps, what's the next milestones? We're looking for 50,000 platelets. Then when we do that, we get 50,000 platelets, I can have this tri-fusion catheter removed and maybe start some upper body workout. Right now I can't do much of anything because the platelets are still low. They're about 30,000, and your risk of bleeding is high still. Another aspect that I want to mention, a good result about the femur stress fracture, and that was considered acute and a big problem and might need surgery and a rod, etc. But on further x-rays after the MRI, on review, they figured that it could be an old injury. And if it's an old injury, they don't have to worry as much about a continued break. The bottom line is we might not need surgical intervention, so we have to just see how that plays out. I go see a specialist a week from this Wednesday and get his comments. Hopefully maybe it's just some more physical therapy, and then we can just focus on getting over the stem cell transplant and doing some physical therapy and get back to managing my life as opposed to becoming the disease, which I was, but I had no choice as my back was against the wall. It was either you die or you fight, which we've been doing for the last year. So maybe we've got a little bit of a break here now, a little bit of a breather. We'll see what happens. So stay with me. Comments below, please, as usual. As you can tell, I'm very tired, so this is going to be a short update, and we'll talk to you next week. Ciao.